I hope this is rolling because I nominate James to go on a blind date with our highest bidder if we reach $5,000. James, it might be an institution you're going on a date with.
Sure.
Corporations are people too, so.
Yeah. If someone...
Did you want to respond to that?
Well, if someone, is willing to put up the cash, if they're that,
James,
if they're that way inclined, sure, why not?
So James,
great fun. I'm riveting.
So James, you'd go on a blind date if with our highest bidder?
If it's for the podcast, sure, why not?
Welcome again to the third and final show on Altruism. In this show regulars James and Kate join us.
Hello.
Hello.
As well as new addition Noni.
Hi.
When is it good to be bad? When is doing a bad thing a good thing? Have you guys got experience on this?
Only playing sport. We were talking about that earlier outside, and doing like a dodgy tackle or just taking out the man instead of playing the ball, and sort of boost team morale, I guess that's the benefit that comes from the sort of dodgy act.
I think I've had a bit of experience in poker. If someone's being a particularly kind of bullying player, you might try and bluff them high. You'll take the risk upon yourself to lose the hand, in the hope that you're going to, get them to sink a lot of money into the pot or something.
Yeah, lots of benefit to you for that one.
That's true, but someone else might benefit as well. So I'm taking on a cost. I'm taking on a risk at the very least, right?
Yeah.
So in what circumstances do you think it's good to be bad? I mean, we just talked about that. I asked someone at work, and he said the example that first came to his mind was like soldiers. And a really accessible example is probably someone like Batman, right? Who is a bad guy and does bad things, but ultimately for the benefit of larger society.
Well, one that I think a lot of people relate to is like the group Anonymous. I don't necessarily think...
Are you part of Anonymous?
Yes. So I've got my laptop here. I don't necessarily agree with the behaviour, but that you could argue that the outcomes of what they do are good, and some people might say that what they're actually doing is good as well, but I would say no, it's bad. But
they're socially motivated though, right? It's a sense of justice and fairness and these other pro-social emotions that motivate them to do it, right? Yeah.
I mean, maybe vigilante justice in general is often an example of that kind of thing, one person taking on the weight, the cost of punishing people.
Like Batman.
Yeah, like Batman.
Well, it's all a relative thing. So in all of these situations, it's relatively bad, the punishing, and relatively good for some people, and some people it might not be so good, i.e. the people that Batman is punishing.
Yeah, I don't think good and bad make sense outside of a cost-benefit analysis. It's sort of necessarily relative.
How do we know that when someone takes it upon themselves to punish another, how do we as society know this is good or interpret this as a good thing? I mean, let's say I were to do something to punish another person for the benefit of you guys. Is that repaid in some way? Am I shunned? Am I punished for that punishment, that transgression?
Does the means justify the end, or does the end justify the means? I don't know. It seems like the discussion could go in that direction. In that, is the initial punishment just, or is it unfair? I guess, and I guess who makes that decision is going to be society or the group.
So, do people respond differently when people do either just or unjust punishments to other people? Do other people notice that?
Yes, they do. Well, according to this paper that I read earlier.
I think it's Barclay 2006.
In preparation for this. Yes, the Barclay paper. They did have that manipulation towards the end, correct, Rowan?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they manipulated whether the punishment was to be perceived as just by the rest of the group or unjust. And when the punishment was just, the rest of the group responded positively to it, right? And the punishers themselves were perceived by the rest of the group as more trustworthy, and
they were more trustworthy, group-focused, and worthy of respect.
But
they weren't liked. They weren't necessarily liked more. I guess that's interesting. You've got to distinguish between kind of a justified punishment. So I think this paper was an economics game where some money was offered between players and someone had the opportunity to basically steal it and not reciprocate upon it. And for me to punish, if James offered Noni money and Noni did not reciprocate, Noni kind of took it and ran, it would be justified for me to punish Noni rather than James. And so that's something people respond to positively. I get reputational benefits from that. But if I punish James, that would be unjustified. Or even if Kate was involved in it, but she transgressed to a lesser degree than you did, than Noni did, and I punished Kate, that would still also be unjustified because someone was more worthy of my wrath. And so people like those people who make those justified punishments, but the non-justified or the just malicious people, not liked, not respected.
Not helping you in any way.
Yeah.
So it's really dependent on the conditions upon which you're punishing people in this sorts of situations. So it's going to help you if you're punishing people who everybody else perceives as deserving of punishment. But if other people don't perceive it in that way, your reputation is not going to benefit in any way and might even be a detriment to it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is it. We've done all we can, our third of 3 short videos and accompanying full podcasts, all of which are available on our site for free at psycho-babble.net or at our Indiegogo campaign. Please share, but more importantly, please donate. We're working very hard behind the scenes, soliciting corporate and institutional donations in exchange for endorsements and other perks, but we really want your support. We want you guys who have followed us since the inception of this campaign, and perhaps since as early as 2011, to show your love. Some of you already have, and we thank you for it on our website, on our Facebook, and right here, right now. Thank you. But a little more will go a long way. Our campaign site links to perks, and we're all willing to make unique sacrifices if we reach our goal. It's just like this. Yeah. If you want something we haven't offered, please talk to us. But if nothing else, consider sending just $10. Check out our website, psycho-babble.net, for the full podcast links, references, media, and forums, and check out our campaign site. Just Google Indiegogo and Psychobabble. Our first full episode comes out in the middle of Feb. Subscribe on iTunes and enjoy this thing we make. That's what it's there for, and this is why we do it. Until next time, we appreciate it. Blech.